The clownfish has been a star in cinemas around the world. On the Andaman Islands, it's one of many denizens of the deep. And some are out of their element, because these divers are Forest Service officers. They're exploring the coastal waters to experience an ecosystem they never see at home. Some are diving for the first time. Shashi Kumar is one of them.
It was a great experience.
He's come here from Gujarat, a state nearly 3,000 kilometers away in western India. On the Andamans, Shashi Kumar and his colleagues want to find out how to live in an ecosystem without destroying it. The archipelago was chosen consciously because its biodiversity is especially great.
You can see coastal, beaches, mangroves and forests, littoral forests, which you can't find in anywhere. Only island you can find a littoral forest, very rich evergreen forest. After that mangroves, salt tolerant tree. After that beaches, then sea. In marine life, you can find a lot of corals, fishes in Andaman.
That impresses the 10 officers who've traveled here from various Indian coastal regions. They'll be passing on what they've learned to their colleagues at home, where pressure is increasing, more economic growth, pollution, and people. 40% of India's population lives near the sea.
If you look at the Indian coastline, we have very small area which is protected under Wildlife Protection Act or for conservation. Now there is, in the recent past, there is an increased attention to bring more and more area under protection.
The German Agency for International Cooperation, GIZ, is co-sponsoring the training. It's part of a larger program aimed at saving 20% of India's more than 7,000 kilometers of coast from exploitation and destruction. Coasts need a different kind of attention than forests do.
In terrestrial area, there is no much resource utilization from the public. It was actually legally protected area. But in the coastal area, not like that. The fishermen communities are living there. They go, for years, they are doing fishing and all those things. Suddenly, we cannot tell them that you shouldn't do fishing there.
And that's just the problem 3,000 kilometers away in Gujarat. A special economic zone attracts many businesses. The Bharuch district is one of 3 regions for which Shashi Kumar is responsible. He's visiting a village 2 kilometers from the coast. 500 people live here, fishermen and farmers. Industrial pollution and the requirement to use nets with a larger mesh size are making their lives difficult. It's hard to convince them to use resources more sparingly.
We used to catch 15 kilos of fish a day, but now it's only 5 or 2. And sometimes we don't catch anything at all.
The Forest Service officials know that people are dependent on what the land and sea provide for them. Despite that, they've set up a nature reserve. Years ago, the Forest Service planted mangrove trees next to a disused port. The area is a good 20 square kilometers in size. Protecting it is a difficult task.
Land value is very high in this area, so there is a possibility of encouragement by industries, by locals, by fishermen, by salt makers. So to avoid this and to protect our forest, we have to regularly do patrolling.
The plants grow slowly. It takes years before they produce their own seeds. Now they provide protection against flooding and a habitat for fish and crabs. And step by step, local residents are beginning to see those advantages. It's planned to involve the villagers more closely in the project, having them plant and patrol the mangroves. Back to the Andamans on Munda Pahar Beach in the southeast. The beach is a rare example of gentle ecotourism in India. The huts and signs are made of local wood.
And this is a good time for bird watching.
And the beach is a paradise for bird watchers.
There are 80 species of birds are endemic to this area.
These are green pigeon, I think.
Yeah, Andaman green pigeons. It is Andaman crake is there. All are endemic birds actually.
Shashi Kumar can also imagine more ecotourism for his home districts in Gujarat. But he's also learned here that making plans without involving those affected by them, as has often been done in India, doesn't work.
Stakeholder participation. Locals should be involved as a guide. So if they will be involved as a guide, there is a less catching of fishes. So that will be also managed. And the direct impact on the coastal will be reduced.
It would be an opportunity to preserve biodiversity in many of India's coastal regions, not just on the Andamans.